We're an island nation, drawn to the sea that surrounds us. For many, it's a playground. For others, it's where we earn our living. But the sea's unpredictable. It can change in an instant. And when accidents happen, they happen very fast.
On the sea, you have to expect the unexpected. It will just turn around and bite you.
Mayday! Mayday! Help!
There to save our lives is a volunteer army of nearly 5,000 ordinary people.
When the pager goes off, we don't know what the shout is, where it is, how many people are involved. It could be anything.
Where do you feel the pain, Alex?
My back of my leg and my neck.
Stuart, just hold the boat!
I am so thankful that they came.
Things could have turned out to be a lot worse.
I've had people drown in front of me. Before we've got there, that person's gone.
Calm down, you're okay, pal.
Equipped with their own cameras,
My light flashing. Yeah, mine.
the crews give us a unique insight into every call-out as only they see it. Speeding through the roughest weather, searching for people who may only have moments to live. For those who risk their lives, it has become a way of life.
The decisions we make on a lifeboat can all mean the difference between life or death.
There are 238 lifeboat stations around the UK and Ireland. But the busiest of the lot isn't on the coast. It's slap bang in the centre of London, nestled on the banks of the Thames near Waterloo Bridge.
I think that most people don't understand the Thames at all. It's a very, very powerful, dangerous river, and most people just see it as, you know, the brown, muddy river that's flowing through London. I don't think anybody really appreciates, looking at it from the bridges, how dangerous it can be.
The tower crew know every inch of the 16 miles of river they patrol, all the way from Barking to Battersea. The Thames is the lifeblood of the city, and when something goes wrong, the whole river pulls together as a team.
There's a huge river community. At the station, we pride ourselves in being part of that community. There's a lot of camaraderie between the different operators, a lot of banter as well. But when things happen on the river, that community, it pulls together and it helps achieve the best outcome for whoever's in trouble.
Tower Station is manned 24 hours a day, ready to launch within 90 seconds all year round. Summer is peak season on the river. A call comes in from the Coast Guard. 8 miles downstream in North Greenwich, a man has fallen into the water.
When we've got a person in the water, that just raises everyone's game a little bit, because they are the people where every second does count.
I mean, I've had people drown in front of me, 50, 100 metres away. I've seen someone in the water and we've been going to them at full speed. And then before we've got there, that person's gone.
The crew are using the fastest boat in the fleet, the 870 horsepower E-Class.
There's a lot of hazards getting there because the speed we're driving at, which is well in excess of 40 knots, we're going through very congested waterways, lots of debris in the water, which can damage us badly. So we have to remain focused at all times.
10 minutes after launching, the crew arrive at the location where the man fell into the water.
Go forward, I'll just stay on forward.
A clipper, one of the river buses that works on the Thames, has heard about the incident on the radio and is already on the scene.
Can you point at him?
We couldn't actually see where the casualty was, and it became apparent that the casualty was on the other side from where we were, quite close into the shore.
Do you want to get the first aid kit?
Ian, the crew's paramedic, boards the vessel.
Come round the other side.
The man is being kept just above water by two sisters working on the clipper.
Right. Go round the other side, but he's too heavy to pull.
Between all of us, we might be able to get him out.
I'm sorry, I haven't got
No, you're fine.
We was out of service, just getting ready to go on break, and then we get the call that we need to go and help.
Oh, you all right?
When I first saw him, he was unconscious. In the life ring, he was face down, so it was quite hard to see what state he was in.
They'd managed to get hold of his clothing, but I think they were very exhausted.
We physically couldn't reach down and grab the person from the water. It was so hard, both of us couldn't lift him together.
That's it!
Between the three of us, we all tried to drag the gentleman onto the clipper boat, but he was just too heavy and too much of a dead weight.
Helm Stewart must get the lifeboat in the narrow gap between the larger vessel and the shore.
Aye, just nice and easy, Stu. Aye, just hold him there.
We went alongside best we could because the boat was moving, obviously. And the last thing we want is to crush the Casualty with 5.5 tons of boat.
Gently, gently, gently. Aye, aye. Come around, touch.
Paul, go for Paul!
Yeah, mate.
The man has been in the water for almost 15 minutes and appears to be drifting in and out of consciousness.
Let's put Paul back!
Right, mind his head.
The water temperature is just 15 degrees Celsius, and hypothermia may be setting in.
If somebody's not trying to take their face out of the water, they're pretty poorly.
Just stay in the line for a minute. I've got you. Come with me. Stuart, just hold the boat. All right, mate, we've got you. Ready? Don't worry. 1, 2, 3, in. Go.
As the Casualty is dragged aboard, he starts coming round.
Get the blanket, I'll look up. Yeah.
While the crew makes sure he's stable, Ian checks on the sisters on board the river bus.
Guys, awesome. You did really well. You did really well. You did really well. You did really well. Well done. You've probably just saved his life. Well done.
As soon as they had retrieved the Casualty, it was just like a weight had been lifted off our shoulders, and we just both fell back and sort of collapsed on the deck, and it was just such an emotional experience.
Energy to get up.
Hey. Right, there is no way I could have pulled him up here.
I know, but I haven't got the energy to get up.
Girls okay?
Yeah.
I think the crew on the Clipper were absolutely exhausted. They'd had hold of him for a very long time, and they were no longer focused on trying to save this guy's life, and they suddenly realised, it dawned on them what they'd done.
I think when you have someone whose life is in your personal hands, the emotional release is horrific. So I understand, we've been there.
Yeah.
Right, you can have the rest of the shift off.
Good girls, well done.
Said to them, well done, and then we're gone because we've got to get this guy to a pier and get him to the ambulance.
Hello, mate. Have you had any alcohol, drugs?
I was just drinking.
Just drinking? What were you drinking?
Just beer, mostly.
How much?
About 6 pints.
Okay.
The man in his 20s had been trying to climb around a pier when he slipped and fell.
Did you hurt yourself at all?
Once we got him on, he sort of come to life a little bit. Yeah, he was very cold, very wet, but he was in actually good spirits.
You are bloody lucky that Clipper saw you.
Very enjoy some of your guys' chat as well.
No, it's fine. It's what we're here for. Holly and that Clipper crew saved that guy's life. He was so poorly when he was in the water. I think had they not held on to him, I'm pretty certain he would have drowned.
Probably didn't realise at the time how much effort had gone into saving him, and he probably still doesn't know to this day.
For 23-year-old Holly, her experience that day has made a lasting impression.
It was just an amazing feeling to know that you've helped save someone's life. So since the day of the incident, I've now gone on to join in the RNLI as a volunteer at Tower Lifeboat Station.
One day, one of our new crew members turns up and it was young Holly from that job.
We need people who have that ability to fight through their own fears, their own exhaustion. That is absolutely the sort of person we need in the RNLI.
It's been going great. I think I've settled in quite well. Teamwork means a lot to me. Everyone's so lovely. It's like being part of a family.
any job that we do, teamwork is paramount. You can't have eyes on the back of your head. We've all got to look out for each other's safety at all times.
Get ready to jump off.
You need to be able to rely on your crew and know that they've got your back.
Go!
We all come from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different personalities. We don't all eat together, drink together every day, but when we're on board as a crew, we get on.
If you try and do something alone on a lifeboat, it's almost certainly going to end in trouble. You've got to work together, and it all boils down to trust. You know, you're putting your life in other people's hands just as much as they are in yours, so you've got to be close and work as a team.
You need to be able to rely on each other, 100%. Otherwise, it just won't work.
Yeah.
One of the most remote lifeboat stations is in Triatha Bay, a small seaside resort on picturesque Holly Island, just off the northwest coast of Anglesey.
Sorry about that, mate.
Its 36-strong volunteer crew is one of the most experienced and close-knit.
He knows what he's doing. Look at that. He's a pro.
We're very close. Some of the crew have been here 20-odd years on the boat. We've got some of the shore crew that have been here even longer.
Got fries with that.
Lots of different characters, lots of different personalities.
That's just lush. Dab's the joker here, 100%. I think he's going through a midlife crisis, to be honest with you, with the colour of the beard.
Like a family, we have patriarchs, we have mother hens, we have annoying little brothers. But when that pager goes off, it doesn't matter what's been going on. We come together and we work together.
Lovely, aren't they? Valley burgers, yeah.
Right. Nice bit of minted.
That one's ready.
The stretch of rugged coastline that the crew look after has a dark undercurrent, which keeps them busy all year round. They average around 50 call-outs annually.
It can be a very dangerous place. We've got reefs, tidal races, sheer cliffs. It's not really a place to be out at sea unless you know the area.
We've got some very high cliffs along the coast of Anglesey, and if you stray too close to the edge, there's always that risk that you could fall off, get badly hurt, or even worse.
Early April. The emergency services have received a call from a local fisherman. A man has fallen in an isolated fishing spot known as Mackerel Rock.
Everybody goes there. When it's mackerel season, you wouldn't be able to get an inch on the rock when it's full. It's that busy. But to get down to it is quite treacherous. You've got to come down the side of the cliffs.
Both of the station's inshore lifeboats are mobilised. The Atlantic 85 B-class and the smaller, more manoeuvrable D-class, ideally suited to shallow water and rocky outcrops.
In taking people off rocks, the D-class is all rubber, so you can just basically throw that up on the rocks. The Atlantic can be damaged, it's fiberglass. But we always launch the Atlantic first because it gets there quicker.
Because of the seriousness of the incident and the tricky location, the Coast Guard has requested a helicopter to airlift the casualty to hospital.
But the helicopter was busy up in the mountains, saving someone else.
So the only way of extracting that casualty off the rocks was in the lifeboat.
Eight minutes after launching, the faster Atlantic 85 arrives on the scene first. A Coast Guard rescue team have scrambled down the cliff and are already with the casualty. The Atlantic drops off 2 crew members. Carwyn and experienced first aider Mike.
He had a good gaping cut on his lip and quite a bit of blood, and it looks very painful.
The facial injuries were a concern, but it's the hidden injuries that we're always aware of. Brain injury, head injury, spinal injury, and sometimes they're not obvious.
The smaller D-class now arrives at Mackerel Rock to help with the first stage of the evacuation, getting the casualty 20 metres down the rocks and onto the lifeboat.
Where's he fallen from?
Moving the stretcher along the rocks was pretty hard going, to be honest. The rocks were quite slippery. There was 7 or 8 of us having to shuffle forward bit by bit.
Teamwork is very important. If he had a spinal injury and we were to drop him, then it could change his life forever.
The crew now have to get the casualty onto the D-class just as the sea starts getting rougher.
So whilst I've got the boat up against the rocks, I've got to be very mindful of the swell which is coming in from the seaward side.
The helm's having to work hard, throttling the engine on and off, you know, to make sure that the boat was as stable as possible.
If that boat comes away, if you're crossing that casualty at that time, you will all end up in the water, which is the thing that you don't want.
Once we got the casualty on board, there is a huge sense of relief, but we by no means can relax at that point.
To get the casualty back to shore as quickly as possible, the crew decide to put him on the faster Atlantic 85.
The next bit of a hairy one is from the little boat to the big boat.
Okay, after 3, lads, yeah? Who's calling it? 2, 3, lift!
You could see that he obviously really hurt his face, but the major worry was that he was having pains in his legs.
Go! Every part of the movement of a casualty will stop and reassess as he deteriorated. Are there any other warning signs that we need to be aware of? Is he getting better? And part of that is to tickle the feet or take a pulse around the feet area.
We had to cut down that side of his trackies, but the thing was, he's asked, can they please stop touching my feet? I hate people touching my feet. So he's fallen off a cliff, but he doesn't want anyone to touch his feet.
I've never liked anyone touching my feet, ever. It's just one of the worst feelings in the world. And I remember him doing that, and it was like, no.
31-year-old lorry driver Darren has been a regular at Mackerel Rock for years.
Been there about 45 minutes, and I just took a very, very simple little slip. The issue was there was a drop, and I went over the edge, and all I could see was rock coming up. I landed face first, hitting the floor. At that point, I realised, yeah, all right, I'm covered in blood. This probably isn't a good thing, and I could feel my right leg swelling. My leg was agony. I'd already resigned myself that, yeah, all right, if this has gone wrong, I'm going to pop my clogs. Nobody's going to get to me before I run out of time.
Fortunately, Darren's friend was able to raise the alarm. 20 minutes after getting him off Mackerel Rock, the crew are ready to hand Darren over to the ambulance waiting on shore.
We've got, 9 broken teeth in total. Scars all across the top of my left here, inside and out. And the lasting pain in my right leg is agony sometimes. Apart from that, I'm doing quite well. And it's an amazing feeling to know that people would come to risk themselves for me. I've risked myself for a fish. But I am so thankful that they came, because I knew I wouldn't have been able to make it out of there myself.
"300 miles and a world away from sleepy Triada Bay is the bustling seaside resort of Brighton. Vibrant, colourful and always up for a party, the city attracted almost 10 million day trippers last year. It really does have something for everyone.
You get people coming down for all kinds of reasons. It's a great place to come for a romantic weekend. It's a great place to come for stag do's, for hen do's. It's a great place to come with just a couple of friends for the day, with a family. You know, you can go down onto the beach and have an ice cream and have a splash around.
It's definitely a giant playground for a lot of people, and unfortunately some people don't have too much fun because we get called out to them.
One of Brighton's biggest attractions is the famous Palace Pier, stretching over 500 metres out to sea.
You do get people who are mucking around on the pier. When the tide's out, you haven't got a lot of water underneath it. There are also sort of obstacles down there, so there are all sorts of things that can go wrong with that. Also, the end of the pier is probably quite a lot further out from the beach than people really realise. It's very easy to walk to the end of the pier. It's a whole different kettle of fish to swim back to the beach.
Brighton had one of Britain's earliest lifeboat stations. Set up in 1824 by the National Institution for the Preservation of Life from Shipwreck, the forerunner to the RNLI. But funding was withdrawn in 1931, and Brighton was left without a station. Then, 40 years ago, the city's life-saving heritage was resurrected with a new home in the recently built marina. Today, the crew launched to around 70 incidents a year. A bitterly cold winter's day. A call comes in from the Coast Guard. A man has climbed over the railings at the end of Palace Pier.
Matt, you grabbed the radio?
Yes.
We didn't know the full details at the time. They could have been doing it for a dare, had too much to drink, thought it was a fun thing to do. Otherwise, they could have been trying to, end their life.
Given all the factors that we had, this was midwinter. It's not the sort of time you choose to go for a swim.
So, Coast Guard, this is Brighton Lifeboat. Brighton Lifeboat, over.
As the crew launched their Atlantic 85, more details come in from the Coast Guard.
Roger, you attacked with suicidal male at the end of Brighton Pier. Police are in attendance engaging with the male, over.
Confirmation that the man is suicidal means it's now a race to get to the pier before he decides to jump.
It was cold. You knew that if somebody jumped in the water now, that you're not going to last very long.
A few seconds will make the difference between life and death.
The main thing is just please be okay. Don't be in the water. Just wait even. Do you know what I mean? Until we get there.
At 35 knots, it only takes 3 minutes for the crew to reach the pier. As they approach, they spot the man holding on to the railings.
Yeah, he's just right at the very end, isn't he? See him? He's right on the end.
The crew are trained to deal with all manner of incidents. Any case involving someone threatening to take their own life requires a very different mindset.
There are so many pressures to it because obviously you know that this person's in a really horrible and isolated situation.
Don't know what's going on in their head. Are they just going to walk away and it's all okay, or are they going to jump? You just don't know.
He's right on the end.
The crew keep out of sight, a discreet distance away.
Lieutenant Coast Guard Brighton Lifeboat. We are on scene and hidden from the casualties.
There's always a chance that somebody who's on the edge of a decision sees a big orange boat coming and has a panic.
It's a very sensitive moment when someone's threatening to jump because they're trying to end their life and we're trying to stop that from happening. That's what we're there for.
With an incident involving a suicidal casualty, the crew must carry out an important last-minute safety check.
We put the knives away on the boat because if they've just attempted to take their own life, the last thing we want is anything on the boat that they could actually injure themselves with.
Can you confirm that the casualty is on the west side, over?
A few minutes after the crew arrive, their worst fears are realised.
He's in the water! Go, go, go!
The man on the pier jumps and falls 10 metres into the water below.
We saw him go, and we went. We went quickly.
Come here, bud. Go down, mate, come on. Get down, buddy.
We got there and he was trying to push himself under the water, so he was like opening his mouth and forcing his head down to inhale lots of water, and we knew we had no time whatsoever. So Matt jumped into the water.
But this isn't a straightforward case of just pulling a casualty onto the boat.
In your head, you always think when you turn up to rescue someone, they're going to be jumping in the boat, crying out for help, but obviously that's not always the case. He was fighting, you know, he wanted to get away, he was scared, I could see that just in his eyes. What I was thinking was just grab hold of him, because I just had this vision in my head of him just vanishing and then not being able to find him.
We'll grab him, I've got you.
I got hold of his jacket to lift him.
Are you all right?
And as I went to lift him, he unzipped it.
You can take your jacket off?
So he was really not keen on being pulled into the boat.
It's okay. Hey, don't worry.
It's difficult to see someone that determined to take their life.
I feel like when Matt spoke to him in the water, it was a proper turning point.
I just tried to calm him down. I just tried to say, listen, it's okay. And I said, you know, let's just get you out of the water.
Right, buddy, come on.
He was like, work with us, you know, accept this. And he changed.
1, 2, 3.
He was a young guy. I just thought, you know, I just want to help him and try and sort of just get him back to the boat safely, really. It was all I could think about, where we could actually get him some help.
You stay seated, mate. We're moving, you have to sit down, mate.
Although the man is now on board, the crew can't take any chances.
I had him positioned near my feet with a crew member either side, so he was kind of wedged in because I could see he was still determined to go in the water and get off the boat.
You just stay here with us, OK?
Hey, listen. Everything's going to be OK.
It's OK,
We're all
mate.
here. This is what we do.
This is dude.
We're here to look after you. That's why we're here.
So I just raised up a bit and put my body weight on top of him, clamped my arms around him a little bit tighter, and spoke reassuringly in his ear, saying, look, you know, it's okay, you really don't want to get back in the water. And then he did calm down.
There's nothing bad's going to happen now. We're all just going to look after you. That's it. It's going to be OK. You shouldn't feel worried or embarrassed or anything like that.
It is a relief. They've sort of changed already from that moment of madness to coming back to normality, really.
15 minutes after jumping into the water, the man is brought safely back into the boathouse.
It doesn't really make any difference as the reason why someone's in the water. It doesn't really change what we have to do. We have to get to that person and make sure that they're safe.
It felt good saving him. He seemed like a really nice person, very intelligent, and I think it was just a bad moment for him.
The crew hand the man over to a waiting ambulance to be taken to hospital.
Good job, you did amazing, mate. Well done.
I think this shot definitely affected me. But I think I'm human. No one can go to a suicide attempt and be like, oh, that's all right. No one.
We rely and trust each other as a crew, you know, to be there for each other, to look out for each other. And after any incident, you always have a chat about how everyone's doing and if everyone's okay. And, you know, you go home. Luckily, my wife was at home and my baby was at home, so I got home, gave her a big kiss, gave him a big cuddle, and just sort of, you know, felt blessed to be with them, to be honest with you.
He came back into the station briefly and said, I don't want to leave without saying thank you. And he came over and he shook my hand and I said, I'll see you again sometime, will I? And he went, what do you mean? I said, maybe you could come back down and have a cup of coffee, you know, like when you're feeling okay. And he said, yeah, okay then. I said, is that a promise? And he went, yeah, that's a promise. And then he left. And then I started smiling.
"50 miles along the south coast from Brighton lies a city with a very different history. Boasting a proud naval heritage that dates back to Roman times, Portsmouth is home to the Royal Navy and the world's most renowned historical dockyard. Today, the shipping lanes that stretch out into the Solent are some of the busiest in the world.
We can be tasked to anything from a small kayak to a 60-foot sailing yacht.
Can be driving along beside an aircraft carrier 1 minute or a naval destroyer, and next moment we're alongside a humble 15-foot fishing boat. So yeah, you never quite know what to expect.
With so much activity on the water, it's no surprise that Portsmouth Lifeboat Station is the UK's 10th busiest, with around 100 launches a year.
We're just getting ready for the new sailing season, which is upon us now.
In his 6 years on the crew, Neil has been involved in his fair share of them.
The thing I love about my lifeboat work the most is the teamwork, it's the bonding and the real sense that you really are doing something positive.
But last year, while off duty and out sailing with some other crew members, Neil became caught up in a drama of his own.
A couple of minutes before it all happened, we heard a strange 2 or 3 cracking noises. But because the boat was new to us, it wasn't something that I was overly worried about at the time. So it was a bit of a shock when the whole thing came down and yeah, just disappeared over the side of the boat. We went from doing about 12 to 14 knots to 0 knots in a heartbeat.
The Coast Guard were alerted and Neil made an awkward call to the station.
A phone call came in from one of our colleagues to say that he'd had a problem out on his boat.
I said, guys, my master snapped, I need you to come and get me.
There was a lot of laughing and joking from people at the station.
I had to say, look, guys, this isn't a joke, you know, I really do need rescuing because I'm blowing out to sea now and we're going out with the tide and it's getting dark.
They were all fighting over who could actually go out on the boat and rescue him.
The crew headed out to rescue their fellow crew members, towing Neil's yacht back to shore.
I got an inordinately hard time from the lifeboat crew, and yes, it went on for quite some time, and still does to this day, actually.
Late April. On land, everything appears calm. But out at sea, a storm is brewing. The crew receive a call from the Coast Guard. This time, Neil's safely back on shore. As the lifeboat's helm, he's in charge of today's rescue.
So the initial information we heard was that there was a person with a serious hip injury on a yacht that was 3 miles offshore.
You can imagine that the guy's going to be in incredible pain.
Straight away, we were thinking of how we were going to treat that person.
Got a crew together and got ready to go.
The crew launched their Atlantic 85 lifeboat. One of the workhorses of the fleet, it's pushed to the limit by today's gale force conditions.
It was a horrible day. It was blowing a hoolie.
There's water going everywhere. Trying to navigate, and every 2 seconds you're wiping the screen because you can't see it because the water's on it.
The waves were coming over the top. We had salt spray, we had wind, we had pretty much everything.
The Coast Guard has sent a helicopter with a paramedic on board to come and assist with the rescue.
If it was a broken hip and the casualty wasn't treated well, this could have been a potentially life-threatening situation.
As if the rough sea isn't enough of a challenge, it appears the conditions have taken their toll on the boat too.
Unfortunately, at that moment, our radio decided to break.
We couldn't hear anything that was being transmitted.
When we're trying to talk to the helicopter, that's not a good thing.
It's a very unusual situation to be in. The RNLI's equipment, the way it's tested and trialled, is very rigorous. We don't get things like that happen very often.
10 minutes after launching, the Casualties yacht comes into view. The pressure is now on the crew and the helicopter to come up with a plan, but without being able to speak directly.
As we got closer to the scene, we very quickly understood, just from what we could see, that the helicopter couldn't winch down to the yacht. It was impossible in those conditions. The yacht was just pitching and rolling all over the place.
So we drove over to the helicopter, we went underneath them, and via hand signals they were able to communicate what they would like us to do.
The crew decide that in the heavy swell and the wind gusting over 40 miles an hour, the only option is to try to land the paramedic on the lifeboat before transferring him to the yacht.
It was exceedingly windy. It was a force 7, force 8, and we had a big swell, and it made it very interesting with the winchman.
We were being thrown around all over the place, and with the helicopter overhead, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of extra wind. Neil has to think about the safety of us and also the safety of the winchman that's coming down.
The size of the waves coming at us, meaning that the lifeboat was decelerating, and which made it very difficult for the helicopter to keep speed with us. Every time that we slowed down in a wave, they were going further ahead of us.
In these conditions, it's a dangerous maneuver. The winchman is being lowered 20 meters down onto a lifeboat just a few meters wide.
So I got the winchman on board, and the first thing he said was, "Well done, mate." And I was quite relieved that we hadn't injured him in the process.
Neil did an amazing job to get the winchman on board in that weather. The challenge then came from how we were going to get the winchman from the lifeboat on board the yacht.
Getting two boats next to each other in that kind of sea is quite a fine art.
Timing it right with the waves of the boats going up and down, making sure you didn't lose someone in between the two boats.
We aim for the main shrouds, put the lifeboat aside and steer into the yacht to try and pin it alongside. Try and make sure you're outrunning the waves that are coming behind you as well, so there's a lot of elements to take into consideration.
Hold your course.
The crew need the skipper to keep the yacht as steady as possible, to get the paramedic on board and assess his crewmate's hip injury.
Just as you're going.
We got knocked away and I had to come back.
A lull in the waves and Neil seizes his chance to get alongside.
We made one approach up and the winchman grabbed the rails, pulled himself over.
Kim, an experienced first aider, also climbs on board.
Thank you.
Between them, they need to make a quick assessment of the casualty's condition.
You alright? Nigel. Hi, Nigel. Hi. Yeah, I'm alright. How are you?
In a lot.
The casualty was definitely in a lot of pain when we first got to him.
With your pain score, 10 being the worst you can imagine, 0 being no pain at all, where would you score it at the moment? At the moment where I'm resting like this, it's about 8. Okay. But when the boat moves, my legs move, we're up into the 9s and 10s. Okay.
So every time it rocked him, it moved his hip, and he was yelping in pain.
Are you allergic to morphine at all? I'm going to give you some morphine, okay?
He was putting on a brave front, but we knew straight away that we needed to get some pain relief into him because he was not comfortable at all.
You got it? Ooh.
Sorry. Sorry about that. Bloody shit roller, right? Bloody long time. Are you alright? Take a deep breath. Sorry about that, sir. No, don't worry. It's just as if bloody moved, the bloody shit roll. Don't worry. Don't worry.
The casualty needs to be taken to hospital. But in these conditions, it's a danger to him and the crew to attempt to transfer back to the lifeboat or to winch him up to the helicopter.
Halen Ferry Pontoon, Portsmouth.
With the nature of his injury, it would have been agony to have tried to move him.
So we came up with a strategy. We'd evacuate him to the shore on the yacht. He'd remain where he was, and we'd get an ambulance to meet us in the harbour, rather than making an unnecessary transfer.
We'll follow the lifeboat back.
Ex-school teacher Nigel took up sailing after he retired 6 years ago.
I would regard myself as just below the level of competent crew. I know where the front end is, I know where the back end is, then I've got a lot more to learn. We'd sailed pretty uneventfully up until about 12 o'clock when we stopped for a bite to eat. And as we approached the entrance into the Solent, it got a little bit lumpier. Things went wrong. Yes, it sort of went wrong big time. The boat tipped and I lost my footing. I felt a sudden horrible pain in my left hip, and I've never felt pain like it.
I don't know if it's actually out, whether I pulled all the ligaments attached to it, I have no idea.
I was definitely worried for him. You could see that he was distressed, but you've got to keep calm yourself to make sure things work and things are successful.
Once morphine has been administered, it's full steam ahead back to shore.
My big concern was what was my wife going to say, because I think she would have been slightly cross at that point.
Whenever Nigel incurs any mishap or accident, my first initial reaction is always to tell him off and say, "Were you being careful?" And so I know he would probably be thinking that in his mind. But being annoyed is not really what it's about. It's about the fact that you love that person. I've always been very calm and rational over lots of things in my life. When it comes to something happening to somebody you love, you feel very differently about it.
You just got to carry them up the pontoon.
An hour and a half after launching, the crew bring the yacht back into harbour.
Is everyone ready? Ready, set, lift.
Nigel is met by the Coast Guard and an ambulance crew.
All the best, Nigel. Bye, take care, yeah?
There's so much relief when you hand over someone, that all of a sudden that responsibility that's been on your shoulders has just lifted, and it's just like you can breathe again, I guess.
There are some jobs you get back from onto the station and you just know as you're putting the boat on the trailer that you've had a good day out, and yeah, we knew we'd done a good job that day.
Lifeboat crews have to be ready for any eventuality. The initial training for a new recruit lasts 2 years, but the hands-on day-to-day training never really stops.
We train hard, we go out in all conditions to train, and we train for all circumstances, just so that we are prepared.
You do develop new skills, and most people, it pushes them outside their comfort zone.
Every day that you're down there, something is learned, something is reiterated, something is retried again or improved.
Every day is a school day in the lifeboat service, as far as I'm concerned.
But you still got to make sure you get it right on the day.
If you could grab both them helmets, Holly, that'd be great.
Undergoing her own training on the Thames, new recruit Holly has been learning the ropes and finding her own place in the tower team for the past 2 months.
It feels really good to know that I'm now part of the RNLI, and I'm quite proud that I can be that person that helps someone else in the situation that I was in.
Holly is young, keen, enthusiastic. She understands the river. She's very familiar with the environment and fits in very well. She's great at character.
I guess I'm quite different in a way. I sort of am a bit scatty at times. So from mopping carpets to stealing people's coats at work parties, yeah, I think I've made quite an impression.
It's mid-April. Holly and the crew are taking part in one of their regular training exercises on the Thames.
So don't forget to shout out nice and loud, man overboard, whatever side, and keep pointing at it, yeah?
I was afloat with my colleague Craig and one of our crew, Holly.
Right. Man overboard, tell him, loud.
Man overboard, port side.
Right. Contact.
We train a lot for people in the water. We got life-size dummies that weigh the same virtually as a person.
That's good.
The crew are approaching Blackfriars Bridge when they're alerted to some activity on a nearby barge.
Calling us over, I think.
I looked over and could see someone waving us down.
We get a lot of people wave at us, and so it's, you know, deciphering whether somebody's waving because they're in trouble, or they're waving because they're being friendly, or they're just waving because they're drunk.
All right, mate.
Once we got closer, it became apparent pretty quickly that there was a guy up on the barge injured.
The barge is the temporary home to a large construction project.
They're on their way. They're on their way, yeah? We've got a stretcher here.
Yeah. Right, I'll come up, mate. Yeah, you go ahead then, Holly. Well, let's grab your helmet, Holly. You come in, mate.
Just a minute, Steve.
It felt quite overwhelming, going from a practice exercise to a massive scene where someone's potentially broken their leg, knowing that you need to get things right.
It was explained to us that a crane was in operation. The heavy load swung round, and the guy tried to get out of the way, but it caught his trailing leg.
The casualty was in quite a bad state. You could tell that he was in quite a lot of pain, but I tried to reassure the guy, making sure that he had water, and just kept trying to talk to him and make sure that he was okay.
Be better off on the lifeboat, Steve.
As the crew are out on a training exercise, they only have basic medical kit on board. They call Tower Station for backup.
With an industrial incident, your thoughts have to go to the environment you're going into. There is a huge amount more going on, so we have to be very, very careful as we approach, that we do it as safe as possible for us, but also that we don't cause any problems.
Just 2.5 minutes after getting the call, the second crew arrive at the barge.
They've got a stretcher.
When we got onto the barge, he was quite quiet, but he was visually in a lot of pain.
This will start taking some of the pain away, okay?
Right, you want to hold this, mate, and suck on it, yeah?
I'm not casualty care trained yet, so as soon as Chris and Keith arrived, it was great to see all these experienced guys just put their heads together and work together as a team.
Any effect?
Right.
Good boy.
See if you can relax your bad leg down.
When Chris cut the trouser leg, I'd never seen an injury before like that.
A bit better?
To me, the leg looks severely swollen, broken.
Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these straps underneath your leg.
Having a broken leg might seem like quite a minor injury, but there's a lot of issues associated with breaking a leg. The complexity of the break. Is it one bone is broken? Is it multiple bones? Is there fragments? Loss of circulation to the limb, which then further down the line could result in loss of the limb itself.
After immobilising the injured limb,
Right, what I'm putting between your legs is an inflatable bladder.
the crew must come up with a plan to get the casualty to hospital. The problem is how to get him off the barge.
He's on a barge that's essentially mid-river. There's no direct land access to it. So the only way of getting him off that barge is getting him onto the lifeboat.
Due to the serious nature of the injury and the height from the barge to the lifeboat, the crew decide to transfer the casualty by the best means available. The crane that caused the injury in the first place.
They're going to crane it down into the boat. Yep, you go. Go.
Lifting the casualty from one floating platform to another is such a delicate operation. The crew want to ensure that any activity on the river is reduced to a minimum.
The Thames is controlled by the Port of London Authority. They control who comes on the river, who goes off the river. The good thing about that is that we're able to approach them, so call them up on the radio and say, hey, we've got an ongoing incident, we really need people to reduce their wake, slow down, and make the water as calm as possible so we can deal with it appropriately.
With the Thames on ease down, the precarious lifting operation can begin. It's something the tower crew train for, but very rarely have to put into practice.
The craning across operation was a tense moment.
Visors down, visors down, visors down.
You have somebody in a stretcher, in the air, above the water.
Chief? Yep. Got it. I've got it. Okay, yeah, got it. Got it.
He was very gently lowered onto the bow of our boat, fantastically controlled fashion, all credit to the crane driver.
Really gently, slowly, slowly. Take the weight of it, yeah, okay, okay.
Up he went, across he went, down he went, just like flying.
It's coming up the gradual chase. Yep. We're going with you.
I was just sort of thinking that there's just no limit and there's nothing impossible on this river.
Once the casualty is safely on board, it's a slow and steady journey back to the station to hand him over to the ambulance crew.
London, Roger, we'll be there in about 3 minutes, over.
It felt really strange in the stretcher, going up with the crane, being the actual lift. I've done loads of lifts in my life, but I've never been the lift.
If Mick wants any water.
Mick has been working in construction since he left school. He's what's known in the trade as a slinger. His job is to direct the cranes working above him.
Slinging can be a dangerous job, very dangerous. If you don't get things right, accidents happen. Because my training tells me to check the lift before it goes any further, I walked up to it to have a look, make sure it was safe. The load swung about 6 to 8 inches. It hit me on the inside of my left leg, just below my knee, and on the outside of my leg was a pipe, and it bounced my leg off the pipe, and that's when the damage was done. And the bloke I was working with said, I think your bones just broke. I knew straight away I was in trouble.
London, this is 2, there's a back alongside. If you've got an ETA for the ambulance, it's over.
To start with, the pain was bearable. And as the minutes were ticking, the pressure got more and more, and the pain got more and more. and it was going down my leg, into my left foot, all down my left calf, my shin, and it just become so bad, it was undescribable, really.
Ready, set, lift.
30 minutes after the accident, the crew pass Mick to the waiting paramedics before he's rushed to hospital.
You go.
One surgeon did say to me, after he'd seen the scan, let's see if we can save your leg. For him to say, let's see if we can save your leg, was very, very worrying.
It turned out that Mick's leg had been crushed rather than broken. After emergency surgery to save the leg, he faces a long layoff, but the prognosis is good.
I'd say he was quite lucky because there was no way for anyone to get to him by the road. And if there wasn't a lifeboat to access him by water, then he could have been a lot worse.
We've done a lot of scenarios based around this exact type of casualty. And in my 20 years lifeboating, this is the first time I've actually ever lowered a live casualty onto my lifeboat. Thank God it happened and went the way that we wanted it to go.
Be careful of the steps.
Right foot down, left foot up.
Yeah.
Back home, Portsmouth yachtsman Nigel is on his feet again and well on the road to recovery.
I will go back to sailing. There's no way I'm going to give that up. If I stop sailing, then something's won, hasn't it?
I would be very happy for Nigel to go out on the water again, but that doesn't mean to say that I wouldn't give him a lecture before he went.
8 weeks after his accident on the barge, Mick is only just beginning to walk again.
I've just started hobbling about the last 2 or 3 days, but just glad I've still got my leg, to be honest. And I know for a fact it was because of the RNLI that got me to the ambulance as quick as they did. I wouldn't have got to the hospital any other way quicker than when they took me.
See if we can get some mackerel out here to do.
It's got to be worthwhile.
In Triada Bay, Darren is back at Mackerel Rock, doing what he knows best.
I was actually over the main to realise I hadn't broken my leg and that I could still get up and start a job I was due to do and, well, come back out fishing without too much recovery time.
No stopping you?
No. It's the spot I fell. So, just realised it's quite high, actually. Wonder if my teeth are still down there. If you fall off a horse, you get back straight back on. So that's what I decided to do.
I just thought straight away either the yacht is going over or people are going to be in the water. We knew that we might not have been going home that night.
When you enter the water, the body goes into shock.
How are you doing? It's extremely cold.
You start to panic.
Some severe shakes on. I've never experienced anybody suffer as much as that lady did that day.